part of my role is take care of the hotel social media aspect at the property level. So we have our own properties, Facebook, Weibo accounts, and the rest of social media networks are handled by the corporate office.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's what I wanted to know. So when it comes to mainstream technologies, such as an analytics as an example, you guys use the same solution across ritzcarlton.com from the corporate, and you're just responsible for the content, kind of in some kind of CMS?
That is correct, and then we do receive reports on the web analytics on a regular basis from these kind of vendors or partners we are dealing with.
Okay, and on that note, Valerie, let me ask you. So we do have a couple assets from your. I'm pretty confident. Well, we have a advanced analytics website intelligence offering, as well as a search engine and SEO, SEM related. I definitely understand, based off what you've told me, the relevance of the SEO, SEM. It's also social media tools within. But is it going to be relevant to show you a preview of what we do on the analytics end? Or is that something realistic to forward or change, or is that something completely out of your scope?
To me, I'm more than happy to know more about your company. And recently, for Ritz Carlton as a brand, we are also looking at other social media or web analytics too. So we were part of the listing hotels that participate in that project. So it would be great if I can learn more about what your company does, and then if it's useful or whatnot, it would be, opportunities that we can work together in the future.
Okay, great. I just want to make sure we're both not using each other's times efficiently. Thank you, Valerie. So, on that note, I wanted to say, introduce myself. I am the CEO of Oopgo, Inc. We're a digital marketing intelligence company. And once again, I summarize, we have two core technologies, both in advanced web analytics as well as search engine marketing. So what this call is basically going to be is a pretty straightforward, friendly 15-minute capability overview, showing you a few live links while explaining what we do that's different than the market. And please feel free to interrupt me anytime. And at the end, we'll talk about added value and potential usage both ways. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yes.
Great. So to start off on our analytics technologies, what I'm going to be showing first. So do you have familiarity what current solutions you're using on your end? The traditional, our competitors, I suppose, are either Adobe Omniture, IBM Core Metrics, or Google Analytics is traditionally most of the companies.
Omniture, of course.
Of course. Okay. That's probably 80% of our clients right now is either switching or, short-term pilot with Omniture. So I'll jump right in and I'll go right into what our differentiators are in that case, to not waste your time. So, Omniture is a sophisticated solution that's, a significant upgrade from Google Analytics, basically because they are real-time and because you can do quite a bit with the manipulation of the actual data. I'll tell you in advance, manipulation of data-wise, we do have a similar model to what they can do. Our big differentiator is the source itself. If you go to a website such as I'm on your site right now, Ritz Carlton Hong Kong, and let's say I move around for 10 seconds over this image. You see my mouse clearly as well, right, Valerie?
Yes.
So I move for a few seconds over this image. I decide to, make a few choices within the calendar. And under this corporate rate, I enter in a number. Then I go to a different page on your site, areas and activities. So default analytics, such as Omniture, by default, they have, they're using the same HTTP logs, which create a record every time a page load happens or every time a significant request on the page happens, such as, you can customize and create an event if you want to open the calendar tab. But what they don't create an event for is a lot of when you don't submit information. So if I type information into this corporate promo code, you would have no clue what that information is until I submitted it on your end and an actual error code came up. What our company doing that's different there is we're creating 1,000 times as many records for each session. So if you have 10 clients or 10 visitors coming to your website, and they move around the top corner of your website, clicking around for a few seconds. Then they type in information that's incorrect on this page, and they leave your page. We're going to create an individual record giving you the typing speed for all of their individual text entries, all of their mouse movement records, as well as anything else you see on the page. It's all completely searchable, and it's all completely adjustable to integrate with any kind of advertising or segmentation on your end. So the usual practical use here is on your actual conversion or highest value processes, such as, in your case, booking reservations, where we can come up with quite a few analytics that have to do with the psychology behind it. If visitors are scared to visit or less confident, such as a common sense example there is if you had a visitor who filled out the first 2-3 forms of your, to book a hotel, then at the end, before they have to submit information, they moved their mouse for a few seconds in front of your security seal, and they left your site. We would be able to find patterns to say this person is most likely, you might need to add something more clear on the security end because we detected 5 seconds hesitation with correlated visits. That's a bit deep there, but did that make sense from a top level to you, Valerie?
Yes.
Okay.
Very interesting.
It's interesting. Okay, so the other end of that coin here is we're storing literally everything you see on a page, including if you select text with your mouse. It's going to be differentiated. You're going to have a deletion percentage for everything entered in. Coupon rate, how many people are entering in here and put the wrong rate in, how many times are they making different decisions before clicking, in this case, fine. So that's all about depth, but the difficulty here is first we go capabilities, then we have to talk about practical use on each end. So the other end of this coin here is because we're storing all of this information, we have the unique ability to replay this as a record for all of your website visits. Everything you see here, anytime you see a statistic within our module, you can click play this record, and you can see exactly what the client did regardless of device or browser. So the usual use cases here are not to watch all 1 million visitors you get, regardless of your traffic level. The use case here is if you identify a particular pain point through data, you see, I noticed that we have a low conversion percentage coming from mobile. You take a closer look at a few individual sessions, and from there, because we have data supporting every individual action, it lets you dig a lot deeper to find out what about the other 10 million cases this happened. Now that I identified the problem through video, we have an issue with responsive design. That's just one example, but we're giving you kind of 360 insight into everything that's happening on your site from visual as well as data perspective. Any questions or comments there? Can I keep moving forward, Valerie?
Keep going.
No problem. What I'm going to be showing here, because it's most enterprises' pain point right now, is when I mention we accurately show what happens on your website from every device. What you're going to be seeing here is an example of how deep we're going into mobile. This is proprietary technology you're going to be seeing. We recreate, if someone enters your site from a cell phone, they're going to be using their fingers with most mainstream devices these days as opposed to a mouse. So they're navigating your site with their fingers. A lot of times they're using 2 fingers simultaneously, one to scroll back and forth, one to go up and down. So what you're going to see on the screen is the recreation of finger movements from your visitors on your website, as well as, mobile orientation changes. So I'm going to let it play for a few seconds. So the takeaway here is, of course, when you look at analytics and data, visit for mobile, a hit has a different value for mobile than it does from traditional computer. My opinion, at least, is every company is still in discovery mode when it comes down to correlations and monetizing their site for mobile. So we're just giving you insight into every action that happens. And the reason I stress data so much as an introduction was that everything you see here is being recorded as well. So on a macro level basis, you would be able to dig analytics such as what's the average finger engagement time on a visit for mobile, iPhone versus Android. Do we want to increase or decrease this number? Let's try a test. Now let's see what the results are and how they correlate with, in your case, maybe bookings, whatever your call to action or metric of choice is. So. What else? I have one more general view to show you from a capabilities end, and just 5-minute run through of what it looks like in practical usage. So, and once again, feel free to interrupt me at any time, Valerie. So this is also a proprietary technology from our company. It's a unique capability where if you're in your analytics module and let's say you select, well, the capability-wise, if you currently have 10,000 people navigating your site, we're able to recreate all of them simultaneously. As opposed from just going to what happened in the past with analytics, we invented a technology that with no download required on the user's end is able to replay your active live traffic, and you can also engage with any individual through live chat or a few other default segmentation options. So you could tag someone while they're visiting your site, and let's say you had a high-value partner or someone that someone over the phone is trying to service, and you wanted to deliver a discount after someone already added your site. You would be able to set up any business rules in advance, click on them, and deliver them on your live traffic. So these are, all specialized premises, but the main takeaway is you have the ability to either look at all of your site traffic, or you can choose any segment, such as if you want to look at people who came from America who've already made 5 purchases at your site. Everything is one data source to correlate the information, and you can say, I want to look at this high traffic segment to either see what they're doing usability-wise or engage them directly. So this is just something I've built in. Every view I'm going to show you is all within the same analytics and intelligence module, so you don't need to load, it's all from a core analytics tag. I want to see live mode on this segment. I want to see this information, etc. So.
Okay.
Last thing I'm going to fly through fairly quickly here. We don't have the 15 hours to dig into all of our data manipulation differences, but main takeaway here is we have a default dashboard. All of the stats that we choose, it's all customized per company for what your KPIs are. If you wanted to create a metric for your company that said people who came to my site, filled out the corporate promo code, and then left my site within 2 minutes, you can create that metric with ease on our end. Our system is an intelligence system that lets you predefine to a much deeper level using mouse actions, movement, etc. So what you see here is just kind of the simple default we have for websites. So I want to click any piece of data to dig deeper into a particular section.
I'm sorry, is that live data that the system collects? Like if I go into the system at the end of each day, and then I'm able to see the reports from what's happening for the past day, past hours?
Yeah, it's live to the second. All of our entire system is real time, including our reporting dashboard with updates. So.
I see.
Okay, so I'm not going to dig. The main example here is from a path perspective. We have a intermediary view here. If you wanted to look at a segment with a particular low number, what's nice about our system is you can switch. If let's say you wanted to look at 60 people who made reservations that day. This example is, I'm assuming you're familiar with the difference between session and page, Valerie? Do we need to elaborate?
Session is the time that the customer spent.
Well, the sessions, yeah, the whole visit. If I visit 5 pages in one page visit, it's, I guess, sometimes more technically defined as session. So if you wanted to look at a default session view in our end for the segment that we selected, we can go seamlessly switch back and forth to page view or individual customer view for that same data segment. So if I click customer view and you had 5 customers making 61 different hotel reservations, it's only going to create one container of data for each customer, or you can see one for each session or one for each page, and your company can customize the KPIs from each view. So here's, an SEO view where we store the keyword position, search term, etc. This might be more important from page view when you're looking at, PAP analysis versus customer view. You might want statistics that correlate to the customer's entire history with your site. So it's just a little usability difference that other analytics aren't providing, in a simple way. So.
Right.
From
May
here,
I ask, the engagement percent. Sorry.
Go ahead.
May I know more about the engagement percentage? How does your system measure that?
By default, engagement percentage is defined by the amount of mouse movement and clicking and keystrokes over how long they visited your site as a whole. So basically how long they're making movements or actions on your site.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Other note there, a big point here is we can also change all of these. Everything you see here is in-house. We're not dependent on any third parties. So the videos, the details are all self-made into one database on our end. So it gives us the ability to, if you told me I wanted to define engagement this way or that way, we can go as deep as you want to custom define any capabilities. So on this now, the last takeaway is I can click play here. You know what the videos look like. This would show the video playing through via session. I can also click view details on any particular customer in this case. So if I'm looking at a session, I can click view details. Now I'm seeing the entire history of this individual customer. So this here I can go through and go back and forth between their past sessions, understand what they've done in the past. And in your case, we can integrate this with your current data to say number of hotel bookings made in the past. You can define, the value of each booking with a few different segmentation systems. So big takeaway here is you can see this all from one view, and it just gives your, it allows you for analysis on a very practical level, regardless if you're looking at customer statistics, session, or page.
I see.
Go ahead.
Are you currently working with any hospitality group?
Yeah, I'll tell you, we have we're working with, as far as I want to use hospitality group, meaning hotel, period, correct?
I'm sorry?
Or is hospitality group different than hotel? I'm not familiar with terminology. Is a hospitality group implies a hotel or other?
Yes, a hotel. Sorry, yes.
Yeah. We have. I'll let you know in advance. We have our first step with any client is an NDA. We're working with quite a few hotels right now, most of them in the pilot stage, but we are not liable to give customer names or information. But we can always send you a case study that's scrubbed out, with the actual information. So.
I see.
No problem. I guess aside from that, Valerie, I was going to cut over, we have half an hour on the books. I don't want to dig too much deeper, but we have quite a few modules here. To be able to manipulate this data, to be able to define and search it in any way imaginable. If you want to create a metric for anything that happens on your site, we create that metric, and you can search and filter this information by that metric. Reporting engines, to be honest, we've transitioned this to be the same default view as Omniture's because most of the companies we're speaking to have that, what they're used to. So. You can email throughout your organization. You can download in quite a few formats, and we have a lot of different graphs and way to do macro-based analysis in addition to the micro.
Okay.
So this time, Valerie, you have any more questions about that, or can I move on to the search engine SEM for us to?
Please move on to the search engines.
No problem. So our other primary asset as a company is. Assuming, of course, you have a background, you know that it's a company's liability to get indexed in Google or Bing or any other search engine. When a website gets registered, Google, what they do is they visit site by site, and you need to get their attention before you're listed in their search engine. So as a result of this knowledge that's usually not mainstream is that Google only has approximately 1/5 of every website actively registered at one given time. Our company, the last 6 years, has been building our own unique search engine, and we have managed to make rules and algorithms that allow us to index every website on the internet. So if someone registers a website anywhere in the world, within 24 hours, we're going to have the source code of the website listed in one unified place. So, it's not 1998 anymore, so people aren't very concerned with new public search engines. So the way we deliver this is almost exclusively to enterprises to customize the intelligence they can gain on what's happening across the internet. So I'm going to give you two basic, practical examples is the easiest way to explain the usage of having these extra websites. So Number one here, Valerie, if your company, you see this dashboard here, if you were to highlight 3 of your competitors and we were able to monitor them directly. Every week, we would be monitoring their traffic changes by the competitor. We would be monitoring all of their changes in source code simultaneously. So, for instance, if you saw one of your competitors had a 40% jump in traffic, and you saw they had 50 million more Facebook likes over the last week, or I don't know what the LinkedIn things are called, I always forget, but we're storing social media and content simultaneously with traffic ranks change. So common sense, there's usually a correlation there, and it gives your company awareness to know, hey, look at the success they've had through Facebook, let's take a look at what campaign they used, and let's consider copying the same, format. So,
how did you capture, for example, the competitors' traffic if you perhaps they're not one of your clients?
It's based off, are you familiar with the company Alexa, by chance, Valerie? Alexa
yes,
or
yes.
Quantcast compete. We piggyback off quite a few different, it's not exact. It's a big thing to tell you. I talked to NDAs. This obviously isn't based off us storing analytics. It's not perfect, but it's pretty general. If your website rank, we use, I believe, eight different public sites who are each tracking, in some cases, 1 million individual computers as a whole, and you get as accurate stats as public out there. So that's the long story short about it. So. Aside from this, the other practical use here is you see where I highlight industry. So usually a company such as yours might want to highlight 3 competitors they want to take an extremely close look at. Aside from that, you might want to take a more broad look at your entire industry. If you wanted to define your industry as a company as every website in the world using the word hotel with X or Y traffic rank who's been available for 3 years, we can do a simple search across every website and pick up all of the websites that qualify, whether it's 10 or whether it's 100,000. From there, we would do a search on, by default, this would be as well every week on all these sites, and we would be able to get the average page load speed. We would be able to get the technology changes on a broad basis. So the point here is, if someone invents XYZ technology tomorrow, your competitors are using it, you see a high percentage are, we're able to identify those trends for you, once again, to give awareness to take a closer look.
Okay.
Just like our analytics, all of this is customizable. Every company we speak to, we get basically we have a top-level discussion about what your KPIs are and have you understand what we're able to detect, and from there customize this dashboard appropriately. So if instead of page load speed, you wanted to know number of, SEO changes directly on the industry end, such as, I don't know, particular meta tags, commonly used, content changes, this can all be customized, but we don't want to throw, 10 pounds of data at you, and you might need about a couple ounces of, high values. So.
Right, okay.
Great. Last example I bring up here is relevant for any enterprise as well, is we also use this exclusive, I guess, broader reach across the internet for brand protection and awareness. So right now, if you had some random exploiter, let's say living in Zaire, who registers a domain that's piggybacking off the name Ritz Carlton, such as Ritz Carlton buynow, a lot of cases these days, they're getting smarter and smarter. If they're trying to exploit a company's brand value, they're not going to get listed in Google or any public index for 2-3 months. They make sure to avoid, they switch their domains regularly. So in a lot of cases, particularly when companies have large time-sensitive launches, if someone's piggybacking, you're not going to know about it until it's too late. So with our index, because we're grabbing every website every 24 hours, we're able to put monitors on specific keywords to say who used Ritz Carlton in their text body, in their SEO, or in their actual domain. We're going to give you automated updates on this information every 24 hours so you can catch them in their path before the damage is done.
Okay.
At this point, I'm going to cut off. And do you have any questions on your end, Valerie?
No, not right now, but your system is very sophisticated.
Okay, yeah, I guess thank you on that note. Let me ask you this. What is, within your organization, how do you adopt technologies usually with your Hong Kong, and what's your how horizontal or vertical are you usually in the decision making?
In terms of analytics?
Either analytics or, in this case, a competitive intelligence tool. We have these two things integrated, but these are all can be individually modularized as well if you only have interest in one or the other. So just wanted to know what your usual process looks like.
The process would be going through the regional or the corporate office. Yeah, it's like what I mentioned earlier. We're one of the pilot hotels that are listening to a few other intelligence at the moment. So we will be invited to try all these new technologies and give feedback to the team.
Okay. Yeah, on that note, I'll mention very relevant is, to be honest, I would say 85% of any client we have who's using like we said, an omniture and a system that we know the build required and time and resource commitment to try them out, we almost always go with a pilot project, in our case on a specific segment of your site. So we would basically give you a 3 or 6 month trial at a lower cost internally that would not conflict with any of your current intelligence solutions. And at that duration of that time, we would include a few hours of servicing internally, and we would customize. This example is customizing on a form a lot of the analytics we can detect that no other company can, that, in your case, it would all be correlated to the process of booking a hotel. So we would give this to you at the end of this time period and basically show you the added value we create before trying to incentivize to make a more significant commitment, both resources, of course, time and financial. So wanted to let you know in advance, because that's usually the next question we always have is, we're already married to this company for 10 years, took 2 years to install. So it might be a bit of time before we're willing to make a change. So
I see. Okay, great. Thanks for your time and information.
Do you have any questions, Valerie? Is it relevant for me to send you a couple docs highlighting this, or do you have any other questions or requests on your end?
Not right now. I don't have any further questions, but I'll be sure to send in you emails if I do. And please send me some relevant examples or presentations so I can share with the team.
Okay, thanks a lot again, Valerie. It was nice talking to you, and
for
hopefully
your time.
be in touch soon.
Same here. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.